What's up, world? It's your boy Drew Marcy, and in this video, we're gonna ask you a question. Is this the greatest rap song of all time? September 11th, 2001 is a day that we unfortunately refer to as 9/11 or even 9/11 because of the horrific, deadly attack on the World Trade Center in New York City. Ironically, at the exact same time, there was a song with two twin towers of hip-hop exploding right then and there, known as Jay-Z and Eminem. Jay invited Eminem to be, interestingly, the only named feature on his sixth studio album, A Changing of the Guard, named The Blueprint, which was released on that fateful day, 9/11/2001. Now, leading up to the song in 2001, neither Jay nor M needed each other for a mainstream cosign. He had already had 5 albums that had gone gold or better, most notably Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, which went something like 4 or 5 times platinum, even by 2001. He also had that accompanying tour, and the film Backstage, which featured artists all the way from DMX down to Method Man and Redman. Rockaware was flooding the streets and redefining hip-hop fashion, and of course he had Rockefeller Records, which eventually would birth artists like Kanye West, and was already developing soon-to-be household names like Beanie Siegel. Eminem had come seemingly out of nowhere from the underground Detroit scene while winning battle competitions like the Rap Olympics in Los Angeles and releasing a little-known at that time project called Infinite before he inked a deal with Mr. Chronic himself, Mr. NWA, Dr. Dre, and his new imprint, Aftermath Records. Eminem's 2 pre-Renegade albums included the Slim Shady LP, which did win the Grammy that year for Best Rap Album, followed up by the diamond-selling Marshall Mathers LP, which was considered pretty much his magnum opus even at that time. So we have 2 of the biggest artists in the world who don't need each other's cosign, who've already been minted in critical and commercial success, and are often, back in those days and even now, in most people's top 5. So 40% of your top 5 is on a song on a new album that is released on one of the most important days in American history. And I believe that the importance of that connection and that collaboration was not lost on either of them. Jay said as much in an interview with Cypher Sounds and Rosenberg when referring to Eminem's tongue twisters and penmanship on that very song. I think Eminem is a very intelligent rapper. It's just when you make 4,000 songs, I'm a constant collaborator, you know, and some people have better days. It's just the way that it is. But if we count the amount as a competitor, and if we count the amount of records that I've been on versus people who had better performances, then it's gonna be like 400 to 3. I'm really just trying to make a great record. I don't get a person and hope that they have a bad performance. Eminem has also shown nothing but respect in the public eye for Jay-Z. In fact, as recently as May 14th of this year, Complex reported that Eminem had just tied Jay-Z for 3rd most top 10 hits as a rapper with his song with Logic called Homicide. To me, it's like Jay is a good guy because he's a guy it's almost like he can see what's going on in hip hop. He's very in tune with the times, and then he does something in his own way, and then other people follow it. That's amazing to me. So I've always looked up to Jay for that. Furthermore, how many songs do you know birthed an entire tour just to celebrate them? Well, that's exactly what Jay-Z and Eminem did in September of 2010, where they did the Home and Home tour, performing to sellout crowds in arena stadiums in their respective hometowns of Detroit and Brooklyn. On this tour, Jay-Z and Eminem performed 30 songs apiece, and then of course came together to perform Renegade to celebrate this amazing anthem. But what you may not know is this song wasn't even originally intended for Jay-Z, let alone one of Jay-Z's greatest albums. Originally, it was done for Eminem and Royce the 5'9" on their Bad Meets Evil series, which wouldn't even be released for another 10 years after Renegade came out. Let's listen to Royce tell us a little bit about the backstory and why he wasn't tripping that he wasn't featured on the track. Yeah, it was originally my song. Me and Marshall was recording like a few different joints for my album, and we picked a different song, a song called Rock City, because the label at the time, Columbia, thought that could be more of a single. So we weren't using Renegade. It ended up being a song like a crazy beat, Fire Marshall verses, and at that time, M and J had already been talking about doing music together. So he sent him that, Jay liked it, and he did it. Delving a little deeper into why a track like this is so meaningful and why it should be put up in the canon of greatest rap songs of all time is a little bit of the racial undertones and the racial commentary. Now, we in the United States have a long storied history of watching the black and white experiences juxtaposed together in entertainment, and while the characters and why the competitors on the court or on film are going against each other, behind closed doors, there's a mutual respect, there's a mutual admiration, going all the way back to movies like Rocky with Rocky Balboa versus Apollo Creed, or you can think about the series between Magic and Bird. These forms of entertainment say something about our country, and it says even more that the competitors are friends as well. Jay-Z and Eminem are no different, and they're not even really the first time that races have come together. We can think about something like Walk This Way with Run DMC and Aerosmith back in '86, but given all of the other components and the fact that on top of the skills being dropped, on top of how big these artists really are, and the fact that there is Jay-Z coming from the hood project perspective back to the wall ashy knuckles lines, to Eminem and talking about the suburban Latter-day Saint Shakespeare and sort of the white, classically white imagery. It's really interesting how it mirrors all of our country's history in a creative way, and they come together to create something that's really epic. This extends to even the rebellious nature of the track, whether it's Jay-Z's Marcy Project upbringing or the trailer park domestic roots of Eminem. The music itself is very, very hip-hop. Hip-hop has always been about rebellion, always being about a renegade and saying what you feel, keep it real, never been afraid to say what's on my mind at any given time of day. So the entire message of the song is about rebellion. It's about standing out. It's about going against the grain, standing on your own too, right? Being you. Something that's extremely hip-hop and should be noted as well. So, two of your favorite rappers make a song on one of the most important days in American history when they don't need a mainstream cosign, but do it out of mutual respect, using a lyrical palette that has to do with racial tensions of this country, has to do with standing out and being authentic and coming together even when you guys look completely different and have completely different styles. I can't think of a better hip-hop mission statement. And so for this video, I'd like to submit for you in the comments, do you think that we can consider Renegade the greatest rap song of all time? Tell me what you think. I want to hear your comments. We're going to be starting to do a little bit more of this commentary kind of interesting conversational content on the channel, and I definitely want to have a good time with you on the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you think about the track? Would you vote for something else? And I'll see you on the next one. It's the big homie Drew. I'm out.